Hi everyone, so for today's video, we're gonna learn how to calculate for the future value using the simple interest and the compound interest formula. But first things first, before we dive into the formulas, let's establish the basic vocabulary used in finance. So we have the present value or the principal amount. So this is the initial amount of money you invest or borrow today. So think of it as your starting point or the starting money that you have in hand. Okay, so next is the interest. Interest is actually the cost of money that you have borrowed or the reward for lending it. It's usually expressed as a percentage of the principal. Next is the interest rate. So the percentage at which interest is calculated usually expressed per year or per annum. So it really depends on the problem. What are you gonna calculate? Is it gonna be per year or per month or per quarter? So it just really depends. And the time, the length of time the money is invested or borrowed, typically expressed in years. And lastly, the future value that we're gonna calculate, it is the value of your investment at a specific point in the future. Basically, it is the sum of your initial principal plus all the interest earned. So the core question here is, if I invest money today, how much will it be worth in the future? The answer, it depends on whether the interest is calculated using the simple or compound method. Okay, so let us try solving a simple interest problem where we will have to use the simple interest formula. Okay, so in this problem, we have a simple interest problem and we have to list down all the given values first before we proceed to solving the problem. Okay, so the given here is you deposit $500. So that just means that it is the money that you have at the moment. So that's gonna be our PV or the present value, just $500 in a bank account earning 4% simple interest. So 4% interest, we have to convert it into decimal. So our rate will become 0.04. And what is the future value? So the future value is being asked in this problem after 3 years. So the T now would be 3 years. Okay, so using the formula that we have for the simple interest, we'll just duplicate this one. Okay, and then we will have to plug in all the values for PV and RT. For the FV, we don't have it yet, so we're gonna solve for that. The PV is $500. 1 plus the R is 0.04, and then the T is 3 years. Okay, so now if we calculate that, our FV will become $560. Alright, so that just means that there would be a $60 earned after 3 years. Alright, I hope that is clear to you guys. Okay, we can solve one more problem for the simple interest. Okay, so for number 2, let us just list down all the given values first. So the given here is you want to have $1,200. So that just means that is the future value because it's the thing or it's like the amount of money that you want to have. So your given is the FV here. That's gonna be 1,200 and the time is 5 years. So how much should you deposit now if the account pays 3%? So your present value is unknown, so that's the thing that you will have to calculate. That pays 3% simple interest. So 3%, that would become 0.03. Okay, so if we use the formula for the simple interest, Okay, we use the simple interest formula because it simply says it's a simple interest. Okay, for FV, we have $1,200 equal to PV. We don't know PV yet. And 1 plus the R is 0.03 multiplied by 5 years. Okay, so in this case, let's just solve for the right side first. So 1 plus, okay, let's calculate for the right side. So 1 plus 0.03 times 5 years, so that's equal to PV 1.15. So that's the thing that we have to calculate, is the PV. So what we can do is we just divide both sides by 1.15. So we can cancel that one out and we're only left with the PV, correct? So cancel out and the PV now. So if we calculate that, we will get $1,043.48. So the answer, or the present value, or the money that you should deposit now, should be $1,043.48. Okay, I hope that's clear for you guys. Okay, we can now move on to the compounding interest formula. Okay, for the compound interest formula, we actually have two. Well, this is what we do. We have two. So for the first formula here, the FV is equal to PV times 1 plus R raised to T. This is what you use if it's annually, because, well, these two are just the same. It's just that this one is like the simplified version, since the N is just 1 because it's annually, meaning once per year, right? So we use this formula as well, the second one, if there are multiple compounding periods. Like for example, if the amount is compounded 3 times a year, so you use this one. Or for example, it's quarterly compounded, so you use the N is equal to 4. Okay, and then you plug into the N and N. So the reason why I use this for the annual compounding formula is because if you plug in 1 to N and then here, it will just cancel out because just 1. So to simplify, it's just simplified version of this formula. Okay, I hope that's clear to you. Okay, let's have some examples for this one. You invest $1,000 at 5% compounded annually for 4 years. So compounded annually, we're gonna use this formula. Okay, what is the future value? So the given here that we have is you invest $1,000. So that is your present value, or the amount of money that is present today, or that you have. And then the R would be 5%, so in decimal it should be 0.05, and the time would be 4 years. Okay, so if we plug it into this compound interest formula, we will have the FV is equal to PV is just $1,000 multiplied by 1 plus the R, it's 0.05 raised to 4. Yep, so I hope it's clear. So our FV is $1,215.51. So this is now your future value if you invest $1,000 for 4 years, and it will be compounded 5% for 4 years. Okay, alright, so let's try another one. You want $5,000 in 5 years, so you're given is you want 5,000 in 5 years. So basically that's not the money that you have currently, so that is the future value that you have. So that is going to be $5,000 in 5 years. So how much should you deposit? So how much would be your principal value if the account pays 6% compounded monthly? So 6% or is 6% compounded monthly. So your N, since it's monthly, how many months are there in 1 year? So that's 12, right? So we can use the second formula that we have here. Okay, you can use this formula to calculate for the PV. Okay, to calculate for PV, we can first rearrange the equation, alright, to isolate the PV. So what we can have is we divide both sides by this, so this one should cancel out. Okay, so we're only left with PV is equal to FV over 1 plus R over N raised to NT. So our FV in the problem is $5,000 over 1 plus the R in decimal 0.06, N is 12, and then raised to 12 multiplied by the time, which is 5. Okay, so the PV now will then just be is $3,706.86. So this is, or this should be the amount of money that you should deposit in order for you to have the $5,000. Okay, so yep, I just hope you learned something today, and good luck on your exam.